Before the gods, before the worlds, before even time itself began to tick, there was only the void, a vast, yawning emptiness known as Ginnungagap. And from this primordial abyss, a being of immense and terrifying power emerged. This was Ymir, the first of all giants, the progenitor of a race of titans, and the living embodiment of pure, untamed chaos. Imagine a being so colossal that its form defies comprehension. Ymir wasn't a king who ruled, or a craftsman who built simply what? His existence was a raw, elemental force, as vast and ancient as the void from which he was born. He was not evil in the way we understand it, for morality had not yet been conceived. He was something more fundamental, a force of nature, unstoppable and unpredictable, like a storm that rages without purpose, or a fire that consumes without malice. He was the universe before order, a swirling, formless potential that had yet to take shape. And from this chaotic being, life sprang forth in a strange and primal way. As Ymir slept, sweat dripped from his armpits, and from these drops, the first male and female giants were born. His legs, rubbing against each other, gave birth to a monstrous six-headed son. These were the first Jotnar, the giants. They were not children of love or design, but rather accidental offshoots of Ymir's raw existence. They inherited his chaotic nature, his immense strength, and his disregard for any law or structure. They were a testament to a world without rules, a world governed only by might and impulse. To the beings who would later become the gods, Ymir was more than just a giant. He was a living catastrophe. As long as he existed, the cosmos remained a formless, churning mess. He was the antithesis of creation. You cannot build a house in the middle of a perpetual earthquake, and you cannot shape a universe while a being of pure chaos roams free. Ymir's very presence prevented the emergence of order. His breath was the biting wind, his snores were the thunder, and his movements were the tremors that kept the nascent universe in a constant state of flux. He was a barrier to progress, a living wall that separated the potential of the cosmos from its realization. For the Aesir gods, Odin and his brothers Vili and Vi, the path forward was clear, tug brutal. For a world to be born, Ymir had to die. This was not a war waged out of hatred or ambition, but an act of cosmic necessity. It was a choice between eternal chaos and the possibility of creation, between a universe that was nothing and a universe that could be everything. They saw that order could not simply coexist with a being like Ymir. One had to give way to the other. His end was not a punishment for wickedness, but a prerequisite for existence itself. He had to fall so that worlds could rise. So, the three brothers, children of Buro and the giantess Besla, confronted the great ancestor. The battle that ensued must have been cataclysmic, a conflict that shook the very foundations of the void. Ymir, ancient and powerful, fought with the fury of a dying star. But the brothers, representing the new principle of order and design, were relentless. They were the future, and the future has a way of overcoming the past. In the end, they triumphed. Ymir, the first being, fell, and his death was not an end, but a beginning. It was the most profound act of creation that Cosmoth would ever know. When Ymir fell, his blood poured out in an immense deluge, a flood so vast that it drowned all the other giants save for one, Bergelmir and his wife, who escaped on a wooden ark to continue the giant race. This great flood washed the chaos clean, preparing the canvas of the universe for a new masterpiece. Then, the gods began their great work, using Ymir's colossal corpse as the raw material for a new world. They carried his body to the center of Ginnungagap and began to build. His flesh became the earth, the solid ground upon which life would walk. His unbroken bones were piled up to form the mountains and the highlands, giving the world its texture and form. His teeth and shattered bone fragments became the rocks and stones scattered across the land. The blood that had once flooded the void was gathered to form the oceans, the lakes, and the rivers that would encircle and nourish the earth. But they didn't stop there. They looked up and saw the vast emptiness above. So they took Ymir's massive skull and raised it high to form the sky, the great dome of the heavens. To hold it in place, they assigned for dwarves Nordri, Sudri, Ost, and Vestri too, the four cardinal points: north, south, east, and west. The sky was still dark, so they captured the glowing embers and sparks shooting out from the fiery realm of Muspelheim. They flung these sparks into the sky, creating the sun, the moon, and all the twinkling stars, setting them on their paths to mark the passage of day, night, and the seasons. And what of Ymir's brain? The gods, in a final act of transformation, tossed it into the air, where it scattered and became the clouds we see drifting across the sky. From the eyebrows of this ancient giant, they built a great defensive wall, a fortress to protect the world of men. They called this realm Midgard, the Middle Earth. Thus, from the death of chaos, order was born. The world, in all its complexity and beauty, is the rearranged body of Ymir. Every mountain we see, every ocean we cross, is a part of it. He is the landscape, the sky, the very foundation of our existence. This is the great paradox of Norse mythology. Creation is not an act of making something from nothing, but an act of transformation, of bringing order to a pre-existing chaos. Ymir's story is a profound and somber one. He is remembered as the father of all giants, the ancient ancestor from whom a powerful and often malevolent race sprang. But he is also much more than that. He is the price of creation. His end was the necessary sacrifice for the beginning of everything else. The worlds of gods, humans, elves, and dwarves all exist because he ceased to. He is the silent, foundational layer of the cosmos, the chaos that had to be conquered and reshaped, so that life and story could flourish. He represents a fundamental truth, that for something new to begin, something old must often end. For light to shine, darkness must recede. For order to be established, chaos must be overcome. Ymir was not a villain in a simple tale of good versus evil. He was a cosmic obstacle, a force that, by its very nature, stood in the way of the universe's potential. His fall was the first and greatest tragedy, and also the first and greatest act of creation. So, the next time you look at a mountain range or the vast, starry sky, remember the tale of Ymir, the giant whose body became our world, the chaos that gave its life for the sake of order. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the depths of Norse mythology, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Let us know in the comments which mythological figure you'd like to see us explore next. Until then, stay curious.